Where's the pump? All right, I broke it already. Hold that. Perfect. Like Kyle said, I'm Keegan Mamman from Mac Systems. We're based out of Lake Lillian, Minnesota. So I'm basically the national sales manager for the company. So we deal in about 32 states now with different products from humic sugars, bacteria type products. Brad asked me just to hit quick on phosphorus solubilization, how to kind of utilize what we have in reserves. I mean, Tony basically hit everything that we need to go through here because the balance is the key. We have to get everything in line to be able to get the most use out of all the nutrients that we have. So why not just add more phosphorus? That's what a lot of farmers say. I came out of the co-op system. That was the cure for everything, is just put more fertilizer on. If you're not getting the yields you want, just put more fertilizer on. But that doesn't always work. Like Tony said, if you're out of ratio on your base saturations, you're going to tie something up, and then you're going to tie the next thing up. It's just going to continually go backwards. Generally speaking, optimum soil test levels for phosphorus are between 15 and 30 parts per million. There's a lot of growers sitting here, I'm sure, that have those levels already. So why don't we try to utilize them? Excess phosphorus in your soil can actually lower a plant's ability to acquire phosphorus. Basically, they can start to fight. Most phosphorus products, especially dry products, MAP, DAP, they need to go through a hydrolysis process to mineralize into orthophosphate to be more usable by the plant. Phosphates, like the chart shows, phosphates are bound to iron and aluminum in lower pH and calcium in high pH. And every area of the country is different. In Minnesota, where we're based out of, we deal on the high pH side. A lot of the 7.6 to 8.4, 8.5. So we need to figure out how to balance our pHs without adding more phosphate. So like I said, more isn't always better. Then how to get the most out of a phosphorus application. Ideally, the more time, especially in a dry application, between application and seeding is the best, because that will give that phosphate time to move around a little bit in the soil, spread out, so when the roots get to it, they can actually, there's more chances of it hitting that, because phosphorus isn't really mobile in the soil. Like we just talked about, placing that band of phosphorus as close to the seed as possible, that's ideal. I personally feel if you have optimal phosphorus levels in your soil, a liquid product close to the seed or in a 2x2 is your best bet versus broadcasting, because broadcasting is kind of like spray and pray. You're just throwing it out there and hoping that the plant can get to it. Balanced nutrients and pH soil is ideal. That's what we all strive for, but I think that's something that the farm that I work with as well, that's something that I feel gets overlooked in the rush of everything, is we just need to go, and we forget about, we need to take a look at K to mag ratios, we need to look at calcium levels, we need to look at multiple different things. I know in soybean production in Minnesota, we blame everything on iron chlorosis, and we're finding out that it's high calcium, high mag, cyst pressures. There's way more than just the pH that's affecting it. So drainage, like Brad said, if we all had our way, we'd have everything system ditched from end to end, and we'd be able to balance these a lot quicker, but that's doesn't allow all the time. But what that does, and we all know, is it'll help that root explore more into the profile, grab that phosphorus, whether it's a broadcast application, a band application. There are some foliar applications that some companies are coming with. We've explored some. We're looking at them more and more all the time. I came from North Dakota last week. Phosphorus was probably I had 16 meetings in North Dakota last week, and probably 12 out of the 16 phosphorus was brought up as far as how can we be more effective, how can we eliminate dries because of the cost or cut back. So phosphorus is a hot topic, especially with the economic times we have. So, and like Tony said, if phosphorus levels in your soil test are elevated, focus on other nutrients. Figure out where those ratios need to be. Try to get them in balance. Take that money you had budgeted for phosphorus, move it to copper, boron, zinc. Zinc is a huge one that we see across the industry. We're seeing in Minnesota on soybeans even. If we can put zinc close to the seed or find a foliar zinc product, we're taking dollars from our other fertility and allocating it to zinc on soybeans even. How do we utilize what we have? Like Tony mentioned, there are the phosphorus solubilization fixating products. They're becoming more and more common in the industry. I believe bacteria species are the key component to that. There are three main ones that I know of that help with phosphorus solubilization: Pseudomonas, Bacillus, and Rhizobium. And what they do, if we can stimulate them or introduce those species close to the root zones, they will help produce more root exudates, more sugars, a more vigorous plant. It's going to explore and try to find more of that phosphorus and take it up as it can. There's a lot of products that are of the biological companies that have these plus a lot of different strains of bacteria and enzymes. I've seen them actually go backwards in some cases because I think if we get too many non-native species too close to that root zone, they actually want to fight with the beneficial ones. So I truly think you just got to kind of sort through what's out there, make sure it's going to be a non-competitive species to what you have, and work with them from there. Don't get sold on a product just because it has 15 different strains of something in there. That isn't always beneficial to your ground. I guess personally, as a company, Max Systems, we have a product called Nanozyme 2.0. That's a blend of Bacillus and Pseudomonas along with some humics, a little bit of soluble potash. But basically what we're doing is we're introducing 2 of those 3 strains of bacteria into that root zone or close to that root zone just to help stimulate that root development. It's formulated to free up tied up phosphorus in the soil. So some soil samples, depending on which lab's doing it, you'll get your P1, P2 levels. That P2 level typically is your tied up phosphorus in the soil. You've put it out there, it's not plant available. If we can help break that bond just to free up a small percentage of that, it helps cut into what we need to be applying. Nanozyme works well. I know Brad's tested it in furrow 2x2. It's pretty flexible. Manure fields, what we found across Minnesota, the Dakotas, Wisconsin especially, this product seems to be multiplied because there's a lot of phosphorus typically in that manure. So the more we can activate that and get those bugs really trucking along, we can break that phosphorus bond down so we can get it taken up a little quicker. So this is just a look at the label. So you can see the counts for the 2 that are in there and then along with what else is in there. Pretty general product, nothing too fancy, nothing crazy that's gonna react with anything like that. So And then the other thing that I just personally have seen and worked with, so this is my 9th year with Max Systems. Before that, I was at the co-op. Long-term benefits, what else can we do to release phosphorus? I believe the use of humics in a program is huge, whether it's in furrow 2x2 with a nitrogen application. It's just that overall soil health. The more tilth we can provide or build up in that soil, the better mineralization we're going to have. The more those roots are going to be able to stretch out and try to find what it needs. So like I said, healthier soil microbiome. The key is right around that root zone. That's what we really want to get at. We want to get that as much around that root zone so those roots can explore. I mean, that's the better off. I mean, our product is Humica, Monty's is Enhance. They're both very good products. Like Brad said, I think we've probably tested 20, 25 different humics in the last 8 years, and these two are probably the most consistent ones that I have seen. You'll have one that it'll work for a year, then it's gone, but that comes from the source of the humic that they're getting. So that's basically my opinion as far as what we need to do as a maintenance to keep phosphorus availability throughout the growing season and seasons to come. So I think that's it. Like I said, I knew it was going to be quick after Tony's, so yeah, that's all. Whoever.